We are driving the new Ford Mustang Mach 1. And what is it like? Well, it has a Coyote 5-liter V8. So this is more closely related to a Mustang GT than it is to the outgoing Shelby GT350. But as a GT350 owner and previous Boss 302 Laguna Seca owner, I've been very interested to see what this Mach 1 is like. So let's start with some of the technical details. I just mentioned it's a 5-liter naturally aspirated Coyote V8, but the difference is it has the intake manifold from the Shelby GT350 and a slight bump in power. 480 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. That's about 20 horsepower more than the regular Mustang GT. Like every Mustang, it is rear-wheel drive only, but the transmissions are very interesting. The most important news to me is you can now have a Tremec 6-speed manual, which is an enormous improvement over the MT82 6-speed manual found in previous generations of the Mustang GT. My Boss 302 Laguna Seca had a MT82 and it failed. I had extreme dislike of that transmission. There were always lockouts, grinding, there were problems. The Tremec 6-speed is fantastic. It is the same one that you would find in a GT350 or a GT350R. Now, the other optional transmission is the 10-speed automatic. So unlike the Bullet, which was manual only, unlike the Shelby, which was manual only, you can get a Mach 1 with the 10-speed automatic. And I will say it now, unfortunately, this one has the 10-speed automatic transmission. I say unfortunately because without the Tremec 6-speed to try it out, this ends up feeling kind of like a Mustang GT with just a little bit more power and a sticker pack on it, because this also does not have the handling pack. But we could talk about the handling pack because it is quite important. The handling pack brings wider wheels and tires, 305s up front, 315s out back. There are Cup 2s, more aggressive aero. You have a bigger front splitter. You have a GT500 rear wing. It's got adjustable camber plates. It's got all the things that you would want for a track-focused Mustang, which is what the Mach 1 should be. So sadly, I'm not getting to try that out right now. So from the get-go, I'll tell you, a regular Mach 1 can't compare with a Shelby GT350 in terms of excitement. It just unfortunately cannot. But it still has some very other nice touches and features. So in terms of where this sits in the lineup of Mustangs for this generation, it is now the most track-focused, the most capable version of the Mustang, because the Shelby GT500 is a full-out Ford performance product, and it's really not branded as a Mustang anymore. I'm pretty sure the Shelbys don't have Mustang logos on them at all. This is still a Mach 1 Mustang. And it's replaced the Performance Packs Level 2 and the Bullet effectively, and the GT350 is now discontinued. It ended after the 2020 model year. This is a 2021. So it's kind of a blend of ingredients of a GT Performance Pack Level 2 and some of the Bullet type of stuff, and then it stole a lot of stuff from the Shelby, like the front and rear subframes, the transmission like I mentioned, but you still don't have that crazy amazing Voodoo V8. We have adjustable drive modes, so I can put it into Sport Plus and the full digital cluster will change up, and it sharpens everything from the steering to the powertrain to the transmission. So it's quick, 480 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque, and the Coyote behaves very differently from the Voodoo. There is so much more low-end torque. One of the big complaints a lot of people have going from something that's this Coyote-based to the 350 is there's no low-end torque in the Shelby. You have to rev the heck out of that engine before it feels like it's going anywhere. That car is happy living at 5,000 to 8,000 RPM, but the red line of the 350R is stratospheric compared to the more regular, little bit over 7,000, 7,500 for this Coyote. So much different behaving engine. It sounds completely different, a lot more lower, kind of grumbly compared to the more exotic, higher revved, harder edge, raspy noise of the Shelby. The Shelby feels more raw and exhilarating. And again, I am coming from the 350R, the more track-focused version. That's my personal car. I spent a lot of time in that. And then the Boss 302 Laguna Seca, which is all stripped out. No back seats. Crazy aggressive aero. This is much more normal feeling, the road-focused version without the handling pack. That being said, you can also do a rear seat delete on the Mach 1 if you want to. It is an option that's available from the factory. We'll get this out of the way first, something that I'm not too much of a fan of. It's this transmission. When you're in sport transmission mode, this 10-speed is like upshifting and downshifting almost feels like unnecessarily aggressively, as if to give the bigger impression of it being super sporty. When you're in sport transmission mode, it shifts so hard that it almost upsets the entire car, upshifts and downshifts. And I'm not a huge fan of it. I actually prefer driving the transmission in regular drive mode because it smooths it out and it doesn't ruin the composure of the whole car. I'm not a huge fan of this 10-speed, and honestly, if you're getting this car, I implore you to buy the Tremec 6-speed manual. That's what makes it more special. You're finally pairing the 5-liter Coyote, which is a solid, robust motor, with a good manual transmission. The Tremec is fantastic. On the Mach 1, it comes with rev match downshifting and also no lift shift. So if you're buying a Mach 1, pretty please buy it with the Tremec 6-speed manual. Now let's talk about the exterior, the styling. I think this is my favorite looking of the refreshed Mustang S550 generation. When it first came out, I was like, ugh, it looked kind of like a catfish to me. I preferred the pre-refreshed, which is why I bought a Shelby 350. Really love the way that car looks. This one finally turns it up and has the aggression, the front fascia, the aggressive hood, and the sticker pack for the Mach 1 appearance package looks really cool with those orange accents, the fighter jet gray paint. For some reason, I was playing with the configurator literally this night, and I couldn't find the appearance package or this paint. So I don't know if there was supply chain unavailability for it, but I think it looks pretty good. It's got the performance pack level 2 wheels. If you go for the handling pack, there's got this really cool mesh design, and you get the bigger rear wing, the GT500 one, and the front splitter. So I will say this is my favorite looking of this gen. It actually is properly aggressive now too, with the big fog light looking openings in the grille that are actually just filled in plastic. But I think it's a good looking version of the Mustang. I think I like it more than the Bullet in terms of appearance styling. Now, interior, this is where it really deviates from the Shelby, like a lot. This is like luxurious in comparison. Now again, I have a 350R, which is track focus, Alcantara everywhere, barely anything in it. You could order a Shelby 350R with the radio delete. You just get a panel there, and it's got no air conditioning. This, on the other hand, I have heated and cooled seats. They're covered in leather. They're nice, squishy, and comfortable. This does have the back seats. Steering wheel is trimmed in leather. The full digital cluster is nice. Now, the 350 never got that. The GT500 did, and I've liked it in the GT500. It's a different feel. I still like the analog tachometer because the Shelby feels so much more analog, but this is reconfigurable when you go between drive modes. It changes from just the regular circular dials to a tachometer going across, and then track mode is just this horizontal tachometer. That's the main focus. You have all these various temperature for fluid temperatures and things like that, gauges. We have track apps with like line lock and timing and all sorts of other nice features. So the interior is definitely a step up. Bang & Olufsen sound system sounds a lot better. It's just a cushier, more comfortable experience. Now, driving on the street. Now, I'm just on the street in a regular Mach 1 without the handling pack, and I'll be honest, it's great. Like it just feels more of a cruiser though. It's not like a sharp track-focused car. It's on PS4S. The Cup 2s would be grippier, but again, my Shelby is no longer on the Cup 2s. It just does not have that kind of specialness, rawness, excitement I was thinking that it would have. Even a regular Boss 302 seemed a little more intense feeling. Now, I'm certain the capabilities are very high with much more modern magnetic ride suspension. The transmission definitely will shift quickly, more advanced pretty much everything in terms of the chassis. So it's capable, but it doesn't give me the excitement, the intangible, difficult to quantify excitement and love of the car. It doesn't excite me. Now, as a daily driver, it is great. I mean, I've enjoyed it. It's torquey, it's comfortable, it's got a good sound system, it's got cooled seats, which was nice when it's 95 degrees outside. So from that perspective, the Mach 1 is a better car to live with. Now, I need to try out a handling pack with the manual transmission and hopefully get to take it around some nice curves or take it on a track or something like that, because I think that might come closer. But at the end of the day, you're never going to be able to match the excitement of the 350R's flat plane crank V8, that Voodoo, just ignoring the high red line and the increase in horsepower. The way it builds power, the way it sounds, the way it feels is just much more exciting. Going from 0 to 45 in that car will make you giggle like a child, whereas this, you're like, okay, we've done it. We've accelerated. The GT500 is a whole other beast. Spent a week with that car. I've tracked one before. That thing is staggeringly fast. It is just a whole different level. The dual clutch shifts so much quicker. That is a phenomenal car. It also feels a little heavier and bigger, but it's just a beast of a Shelby GT500. This here, I think, does a pretty good job of filling the gap of where the Performance Pack Level 2 left off. The Bullet, to me, was always just kind of a special edition to throwback heritage. I don't feel like this really does... I originally came in thinking this would be like the Boss 302 reinvigorated. But driving this one here, spending a couple days with it, it doesn't feel the same to me. Really, it doesn't feel like the same type of vehicle. Doesn't feel that niche. Would I sell my GT350R to buy one of these? No, not even with the handling package, and I haven't driven one yet, but I don't think so. That's not to say it's not a good car. It's a fantastic car. I think it's a really cool Mustang. I like how the progression of Mustangs, where they've gone now. It's a great all-around sports car. So we should talk about the value. A Mach 1 starts at around $53,400, like 53, something like that. And as option, this one is just under $60,000. Now you can tack on a couple more things like the rear seat delete, the handling pack, which is just over $3,700. And I would 100% suggest you get the handling pack if you're looking for this car. Now, in terms of pricing, that actually does quite well compared to the Shelbys. A 350, 350R, those were $70,000 plus cars towards the later end of the cycle. They increased in price. So if you can get this for around $60,000, it stands to be not too terrible of a value for sure. You get almost 500 horsepower, a lot more stronger, robust of an engine, much better transmission choices, and just for the transmission on its own, I would go for these because MT82 gives me nightmares. That was not enjoyable to lose a gear. So there are my thoughts on the new Mustang Mach 1, perspective from a 350R owner and somebody who had a Boss 302, and I've spent time in a pretty wide range of Mustangs. I like Mustangs a lot. I mean, that's why I've owned 2 of them already. I want to try out the handling pack at some point. Now, don't let what I said discount any of this. It's a good combination. It checks a lot of the boxes, and given the fact that you cannot buy a GT350 brand new anymore, and the GT500 is a 6-figure car making 760 horsepower, this is the sweet spot. It's a quite good option, has some really compelling things, but please buy it with the manual. I'm just making conclusions in my mind on how it would feel given the fact that I've spent a lot of miles with the Tremec 6-speed, and then this is the Coyote instead of a Voodoo. Make sure you guys also check out, I did a walk-around video, literally comparing the details on the exterior, the interior. We talk about some of the powertrain differences with my Shelby next to each other. It expands the possibilities when you start looking at comparing buying a brand new Mach 1 and also a used GT350, even though Shelby prices, like the whole market, have skyrocketed in price. Somehow my car is worth 10 grand more than I bought it, so that's fantastic. But the Mach 1, this was cool. I got to check it out. I want to try out the handling pack for sure. Otherwise, that's all my thoughts on the new Ford Mustang. Mach 1. It's also weird to look down, not after what I just did, but sometimes when you're cruising at 45 miles an hour, it shows 10th gear. That to me, I can't get used to that, but that's what these high gear transmissions are doing now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you check out the other ones. If you're interested in Mustangs and Ford products, there's a lot of Ford performance videos on my channel from reviews and vlogs and such. Thanks for watching.